There is a sentence that has been said at more family dinners, more brunches, more casual conversations between well-meaning adults than almost any other sentence in personal finance. You're just throwing money away on rent. I need you to understand something about this sentence. It is not entirely wrong, but it is incomplete in a way that has caused millions of people to make one of the largest financial decisions of their lives based on vibes and a half-truth. Today we're going to run the actual numbers, not the ones that make homeownership sound like obvious genius, not the ones that make renting sound like obvious failure, the real ones, with the full cost picture in view, and some of you are about to be personally offended by math. Welcome back to the economics of ownership. Let's go. Here's the honest version of the homeownership argument, because I'm not here to be a renter propagandist. When you pay rent, every dollar leaves your bank account and lands on your landlord's balance sheet. You don't build equity. You don't benefit if the neighborhood gets better. You don't accumulate an appreciating asset. You are paying for a service, housing. And when you stop paying, you have nothing to show for it. That's real. That's the legitimate version of the argument. But here's what happens when you zoom out even slightly. When you pay a mortgage in the early years, the vast majority of your payment also goes to someone else, not your landlord, the bank, in the form of interest. On a $429,000 home at 6% interest, which is the current national median price at the current mortgage rate, your monthly principal and interest payment is approximately $2,057. Of that $2,057 in your first payment, about $1,657 goes straight to the bank as interest. Only $400 actually builds equity. You paid $1,657 to the bank for the right to borrow their money. That is not an asset, that is a fee. Nobody at the dinner table calls that throwing money away. But by the math, it's the same thing. It's just dressed in nicer clothes and comes with a tax deduction. Homeowners, I'm asking genuinely, not to be annoying. Do you know what percentage of your current monthly mortgage payment is going to interest versus equity? Drop the breakdown in the comments if you know it. I think the honest answer is going to surprise a lot of people who thought they were building equity every month. If this kind of brutal number breakdown is your thing, welcome. This is the channel. The economics of ownership. We've done the house, Tesla, EVs, Rivian, iPhones, real costs, honest math. Subscribe so you don't miss the rest. Free, 2 seconds. Already saving you from a bad mortgage. Hit the button. Back to the math. Okay, let's build the real number, not the mortgage payment, the bill, the full, unedited, nothing left out bill that nobody puts in the Instagram post when they announce they bought a house. The U.S. median home price is $429,226. That is the number right now. Let's buy it. First, the entry fee, 20% down, $85,845. Gone before you've unpacked a single box, just to be allowed to begin the process of paying the bank for the next 30 years. Then closing costs, 2 to 6% of the purchase price, which is another $8,600 to $25,700 due at closing, in cash, on top of the down payment. Most people know about the down payment. The $17,000 in closing costs is the one that makes people's faces do a thing. You've now spent $103,000 and you don't own the house yet. You just own the right to start paying the mortgage. Now the monthly expenses begin, and this is where it gets interesting. Principal and interest, $2,057 a month. Property tax, national average 1% of value annually, $358 a month. Homeowners insurance, averaging $2,400 to $2,800 a year right now, $233 a month. And maintenance, financial planners universally recommend budgeting 1 to 3% of your home's value per year for this, which is $4,290 to $12,870 annually on this house. So conservatively, $358 a month. And that's the conservative estimate. That's assuming nothing significant goes wrong. That's assuming the roof doesn't decide this is its year. Add it up. Before any HOA fees, before any surprise, before the dishwasher makes the noise it's been making for 2 months that you've been choosing not to investigate. Your actual all-in monthly cost of owning the median American home, approximately $3,006 a month. The national average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, $1,900 a month. The gap is $1,106 every single month. That's $13,272 a year. That's $66,360 over 5 years, just in the monthly cost difference, before the $103,000 you spent before your first payment. I'll wait while you sit with that. Okay, I know what's happening in your brain right now. But the homeowner is building equity and the renter isn't. That changes everything. Yes, and this is the legitimate counter-argument, so let's actually run it. Home prices have gone up 244% in nominal terms since 1990. That sounds incredible. Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Shiller studied home price appreciation across the entire 20th century and found that the real inflation-adjusted average return on residential housing was approximately 0.2% per year. 0.2% per year after inflation. Now, some markets have crushed this average. San Francisco, New York, coastal California, certain suburban markets. Real appreciation has been genuinely significant and life-changing for the people who owned in the right place at the right time. But the national average is not a guarantee. It is an average. And there are people who bought in 2006 or in markets that declined who would like a word with anyone using the housing always goes up argument. Here's the thing, the equity argument also skips. The renter's $1,100 monthly surplus isn't automatically wasted. If it gets invested in a boring index fund returning 8% annually, a conservative figure for long-term equity returns, that $1,100 a month over 10 years grows to approximately $200,000. The homeowner's equity position needs to beat that math for buying to win financially, which it can. In the right market, over the right time horizon, with the right luck, buying absolutely wins. But it does not automatically win just because equity exists. Here is the number that almost no one runs before they sign the papers. Break even. The point at which the total cost of owning, down payment, closing costs, interest, maintenance, insurance, tax, finally becomes less than what you would have paid renting for the same period. In most U.S. markets, it's around 5 years. In expensive cities like New York, San Francisco, or Seattle, it can stretch to 10, 11, 12 years or more. Let me give you the Zillow calculator's own output on this. For a $300,000 home, after 3 years of owning, you've spent $132,693 total. A renter over the same period spent $75,475. The renter has $57,218 still in their pocket. And here's the thing that should make people in expensive metros put down their croissant. Renting is currently cheaper than buying on a full all-in monthly basis in 32 of the 50 largest U.S. metros. Not cheaper in the mortgage-only comparison, cheaper when you include everything. According to Empower's analysis using Zillow data from June 2025, buying only clearly makes more financial sense in 18 of the 50 biggest cities, 32 out of 50. In 32 of the 50 biggest American cities, renters are paying less for comparable housing than buyers every month. And we're still out here telling renters they're throwing money away. How long have you lived at your current address? Whether you rent or own, drop the number of years in the comments. I want to map the audience against the break-even timeline because I think there are a lot of people in this conversation who haven't been in their home long enough for the math to have worked in their favor yet and don't know it. I'm not here to tell everyone to rent forever. That would be wrong, and also I don't want that many angry comments. There are two legitimate arguments for homeownership that the math alone doesn't capture, and I'm going to give them to you properly because this channel doesn't do selective truth-telling. The first one is forced savings, and this one is for the people in the back who know exactly who they are. A mortgage is a savings mechanism that works even for people who are terrible at saving. If you have $1,100 extra a month as a renter, and your relationship with that money is that it disappears into dinners, into streaming services, into things you don't remember buying but definitely bought, you come out behind the homeowner. Because the mortgage doesn't care how you feel about building wealth this month. It takes the money whether you're motivated or not. It is the most aggressive accountability partner you have ever had, and it will absolutely ruin your Saturday if you miss a payment. For a lot of people, that is the entire case for buying, not the appreciation, not the equity, the fact that the mortgage is automatic and your investing discipline is not. Know yourself before you run the math. The second argument is stability. And this one is actually beautiful, and I say that without sarcasm. Painting the walls whatever color you want, getting the dog you've always wanted without negotiating a pet deposit, knowing your kids are in a school district and staying in it, putting a vegetable garden in the backyard and actually tending it for more than 2 weeks because it's your backyard, belonging somewhere on purpose. These things have genuine human value that a compound interest calculator cannot measure and should not try to. For families, for people who are done moving, for people whose sense of home is tied to a specific place and community. Ownership provides something. Renting genuinely cannot. That is not irrational. That is a values decision and a good one. But here's the thing. Those two arguments, forced savings and stability, are not renting is throwing money away. They are completely different arguments that stand on their own. Wrapping them in bad math cheapens them. They don't need the bad math. They're strong enough without it. Okay, here's the decision tree. No vibes, no family dinner pressure. Just the conditions under which each option actually makes financial sense. Buying probably wins when you plan to stay for at least 5 to 7 years, ideally longer. Because if you sell before the break-even, you will almost certainly lose money on transaction costs alone. You can genuinely afford the full cost, including maintenance, insurance, and property tax, without stretching so thin that one broken HVAC unit sends you into a financial crisis. You have 3 to 6 months of cash reserves after the down payment and closing costs because the house will find out that number immediately and test it. And you're in one of the 18 out of 50 largest metros where ownership costs are actually competitive with renting. Renting probably wins when your timeline is short or genuinely uncertain. A job change, a relationship change, I don't actually know where I want to live yet change. You're in a high-cost market where the math doesn't work for a decade. You will actually invest the monthly savings, and you know this about yourself because you've already done it. Or your life requires a flexibility that a mortgage, a property tax bill, and a maintenance schedule will not provide. Neither option is throwing money away. Both options are paying for something real. The only genuinely bad version of this decision is the one made because someone at a table told you the math was simple when it isn't. Run the numbers for your city. Calculate the full monthly cost of ownership, not just the mortgage. Find your break-even. Add in what happens to the monthly surplus if you rent and invest. Then decide, with your eyes open, without a family dinner narrative making the choice for you. Subscribe for the next Economics of Ownership. We're doing the dog. I have been looking forward to this one for weeks, and the lifetime cost numbers are going to make you question everything. Drop a comment. Renter feeling vindicated, homeowner defending the math, or first-time buyer now questioning all of your plans. See you in the next one.